It's breaking right now. John Heyman reporting that Marcus Stroman has opted out of his player option and he is no longer a Cub. What does that mean? We're going to talk about that. The extent of it. Well, it was a $21 million contract for one more year. None of us saw this coming. I mean, all the talk was that he's coming back and then they'll figure out if they're going to extend Kyle Hendricks. Well, he's not coming back. He's opted out. And I think that this could be a good thing for the Cubs, especially when you see what's out there in free agency, and it allows them to be players maybe for other pitchers like Blake Snell, for example. So we'll find out. But first, guys, let me ask you to do me a favor. We want you to be part of our roster. We don't want you to opt out. And it's really easy to do. Like and subscribe. If you enjoy Cubs baseball and these videos, give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell so you know if something's breaking and we drop a video that you can get there. And also, our channel is presented by the Cubs AA affiliate right now, the Tennessee Smokies. They won their first championship in 45 years. SmokiesBaseball.com/store to pick up the latest swag. All right, so here it is. Marcus Stroman opts out of a $21 million extension. Seemed like pretty good money for a pitcher who's had a history of sometimes pitching well, but a lot of times dealing with injuries. And we saw both of those things happen this season with the Cubs. So this was part of a 3-year contract, and it was down to the last year. It was a player option, which means that it was up to Stroman and his people. And he's represented by Rock Nation Sports. He's a 33-year-old, now free agent, and we'll see what this brings for him. But he's a guy that's going to want a big-time contract. He feels like he deserves it. And it's all how you interpret his season, okay? First half of the season, definitely deserves it. Definitely a guy you would count on, right? He was an all-star. He had a 2.96 ERA. He threw 112 innings plus in that first half before the injuries started to mount up. And it seemed like there was a correlation between the injuries, his lack of success, and then the IL stint from the Cubs trip out to Great Britain, to England, to play the Cardinals, right? But first he went on the IL, hip inflammation, and then it was right cartilage fractures. I've never in my life heard of that. I think that the organization was probably wondering, how do you get that? Because of all the things that you've ever heard in baseball. And I know these guys get hurt all of the time. They're athletes. But that was a weird one. And then down the stretch, he was very unreliable. He came back, and we thought, well, maybe he'd help. He was in the bullpen, and then he wanted to start, and then he started, and he wasn't good. And those losses, pushing Javier Assad to the bullpen, is something that we'll question when the Cubs are watching, the playoffs, or they were watching the playoffs, and they see the Diamondbacks get to the World Series. The Cubs are battling with the Diamondbacks for a playoff spot. Javier Assad might have got you there. You only needed 2 games, So with all that said, final numbers for Marcus Stroman: he won 10, lost 9. He had a 3.95 ERA. 25 starts, 27 games. He threw 136 innings. Had a great first half, a dismal second half. And, now you wonder, what this means for the Cubs and for Marcus Stroman. I was really surprised, to be honest with you, that Marcus Stroman opted out of this contract. I felt like this was definitely in his best interest to just take the contract and the $21 million, because, and we'll find out, but it didn't feel like Marcus Stroman would be worth $21 million a season. No one, I don't think, saw this coming. I mean, even a couple of weeks ago, it was being reported that the Cubs expected, and that was Patrick Mooney, our buddy with The Athletic, that both guys, he and Kyle Hendricks, would return to Wrigley next year. Hendricks, $16.5 million club option, and then a $21 million player option for Marcus Stroman. And obviously, that in the case. So what does that look like for the Cubs rotation now? Well, you got Justin Steele, who flirted with a Cy Young, Jameson Taillon, who has been, to me, disappointing when you talk about $17 million a year and you really don't know what you're getting with him from start to start. You got Javier Assad, who, doesn't have amazing stuff, gets outs, and has been, at least last year, was really reliable. Hayden Wesneski, who the Cubs trade the Yankees for, and we really aren't sure from outing to outing what he brings to the table. Jordan Wicks, we saw him at the end of last year. He did a really good job of helping the Cubs in the rotation. He's going to be back, and I expect him to be, one of the key cogs. Drew Smiley almost threw a perfect game and then was just dreadful starting to the point where they had to take him out of the rotation. And then you got the guys in the minor leagues. Cade Horton, when's he going to be ready to help out? He's the Cubs' top pitching prospect. Still has some work to do sending the rough edges, but he's a really good pitcher and could help the team out immensely with the stuff that he brings to the table. Ben Brown, they traded the Phillies to get him, and we expected to see him in the big leagues, but then he had an injury and didn't get a shot this year. And then who knows who else, and what do you do in free agency? But not having Marcus Stroman and having that $21 million, to me, opens up some money. And for the Cubs, you got to go out and you can't miss like the Jameson Taillon. You can't. You got to nail this next starter. And honestly, I think a lot of Cubs fans and probably people in the front office woke up, got that news, and were happy, to be honest with you. I think they were probably happy. I don't think that anyone was that disappointed that he's not coming back, because I think it opens up the possibility of going out and improving that spot in the rotation. So good luck to Marcus Stroman. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, guys, Marcus Stroman opts out of his Cubs contract extension, so he's a free agent, and now the Cubs will be on a quest to replace him. We don't want to replace you if you're not already part of the Cubs baseball channel. Easy to do. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go Cubs.